the one in charge of planning this London media trip for Biggie that he was supposed to be on the night that he was actually unalived. Kirk Burrows claims Diddy is the one that canceled this trip and Biggie did not want to go out to Los Angeles. And Kirk Burrows feels like Diddy should be responsible for what happened to Biggie. What Kirk Burrows alleged next is what's really chilling. He said something that we have heard alleged many times, and he said that Biggie was actually leaving Bad Boy Records shortly before he passed away. Kirk Burrows alleged that Biggie already signed the paperwork to get out from underneath Bad Boy. Then Kirk Burrows went on to allege that after Biggie passed away, Diddy came to him and told him to change the terms in the contract that Biggie signed. And he claimed that he was so calculated that he told Kirk Burrows to just switch out the middle pages. That way on the last page, Biggie's signature would...
The documentary about Diddy, released by 50 Cent on Netflix, took decades to materialize, spanning over 30 years of hip-hop history and Diddy's life. Creators waited until legal proceedings were fully resolved before compiling 4 parts, filled with rare archival footage, voice recordings, and previously unseen material. This new content includes intimate videos of Diddy in private moments with his lawyer, captured just days before a major trial. The filmmakers emphasize that some claims are supported by evidence, while others remain allegations. By combining public records with insider accounts, the series paints a complex picture of Diddy's influence, his personal life, and the culture of hip-hop, highlighting the unprecedented accessibility of recorded media over the years.
Boy, we had gotten over CCNY. It looked like the coast was clear. We were renegotiating with Arista. We were about to get a step up in the money. I had 25% of the company. I didn't know why he needed to get that back from me and then give it back to me again. I didn't understand that. That's like a trick. Like, okay, here, I gave it to you. Now give it back. And don't worry, I'm going to give it right back to you. I didn't want to give it up. So he came into my office one day unexpected, him and Kenny Marsalis. They had it planned out. Kenny had the briefcase with all the stock certificates in it. And Diddy had the bat. Not like I'm going to beat the shit out of you with the bat, but he had the bat like, man, we got to do this. This has to happen. I didn't feel I was going to get beat down in that office, in all honesty. I got people that can jump out of the shadows in a minute. I wasn't threatened by him. What I was messed up over was the fact that I started this company with you from day zero. And now the one solid thing that you told me I had, you want to take that back and do a return to me on that at this critical time that we're renegotiating and getting a step up on the contract. When he told me it was about all of that renegotiating and that I should trust, I did, begrudgingly, angry, upset. It wasn't right. I did it. He got the stock back. I went on, tried to get over that, kept doing my job, doing what I had to do, delivering everything. And once again, I was caught up in the job. I forgot all about it. And next thing you know, we had the snafu. I was fired. And he just said, oh, okay, bye. And since he had never given me his stock back, he never said that he would pay me anything or give me anything. He just avoided me all these years. Not only did he avoid me all these years, running high and low, I went on and started working with Mary, who the three of us.
One of the documentary's most explosive elements is previously unreleased footage showing Diddy in private, candid moments strategizing with his legal team just before his arrest. This material allows viewers to see the mogul in a vulnerable, unfiltered state, revealing how media coverage shaped his public persona. 50 Cent and the filmmakers stress that this footage, along with voice recordings and documents, adds credibility to some allegations. The documentary captures Diddy's influence on hip-hop culture, illustrating how artists' self-recorded media, created years earlier, can resurface decades later to support legal claims or shed new light on controversial events.
Why it's coming out now is we wanted to wait, to get through all of the legal proceedings, the criminal trial, and it spans, it's, 4 parts, and it spans over 30 years of, pop culture, his life. So it took some time, to say the least, to put all of this together.
It's an important story, and you could just tell it with all the public material. Mm-hmm. You go further. You've gotten your hands on some extra new material people are going to see for the first time, including this video. Any journalist would want to know how you got it, but it is Sean Diddy Combs in the heat of this, right before the arrest for the trial we just discussed, in private moments, talking to his lawyer, cameras running.
He also underestimated that a lot, I mean, some of, with every celebrity, you do have different claims and some are completely unfounded. But I think that some of these lawsuits, there's receipts. Mm-hmm. And there's footage and there's voice recordings. And I think that for a man, it's also very interesting, for the culture of hip hop, so many artists record themselves and they probably, when they were, recording themselves in 2005, never saw the year 2025 and how accessible that media would be to actually make a case for things. And I think that's a big part of the gumbo.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you. He looks right at you.
Yeah, he looks at me.
Okay. When he looks over at you, and then Tupac's busy getting shot. Evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out
in
of
the back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
I seen a bullet going Suge's head. I thought he was dead.
So Orlando across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, we rolled down the window, popped.
Who was it?
They would drove on my side, I would pop them. You know what I'm saying?
The documentary features interviews with former Bad Boy Records employees, artists, and close associates, offering perspectives on the deaths of Biggie Smalls and Tupac. Figures like Mark Curry, Roxanne Johnson, and Kirk Burroughs recount how artists felt exploited and caught in a power struggle that fueled the East Coast-West Coast rivalry. By sharing allegations and suspicions rather than confirmed facts, the series provides a tense, behind-the-scenes look at the hip-hop industry, showcasing the pressures, rivalries, and manipulations that shaped some of its most infamous moments.
Pac's money, Pac wanted to leave, and it could be some other shit that was going on. But they still created an atmosphere for that. You understand that East Coast, West Coast bullshit. When Suge was trying to use the New York guys to, okay, man, come on, let's make some sense of this shit. And have a meeting and sit down with the New York guys and ask for a representative for Puff to come on. Puff was mad. You see now why Puff was mad. Everybody know now why Puff was mad. That he didn't want nobody to come to the meeting because Suge was playing Pay Daddy. Suge was in there playing Play Daddy with Justin. It's crazy. I said, well, how you going to be mad at Misa and the East Coast, West Coast? And now we see why he was mad. We don't know if Suge sent Puff those pictures years ago. We don't know that. But that's why Puff didn't send a representative when Zipman was asking him, man, let me represent, just let me know. Nah, man, F that. They trying to get a black distribution company, a publishing company, all that for hip hop artists and music. Puff and Jay-Z ain't won't have shit to do with it. And look who get rewarded behind that. So, to answer your question, I think the atmosphere that they designed and made up led to what we know was the East Coast, West Coast war.
In this documentary, he is the investigator that did that proffer agreement with Keefe D way back in 2008, where Keefe D alleged that Diddy tried to offer him $1 million to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. And Tupac's trial with Keefe D is coming up very soon in early 2026. And we know that Diddy's name has been dropped at least 200 times during these.
Former lap detective Greg Kading is featured in the series, revealing his investigation into Tupac and Biggie's cases. Kading alleges that Diddy attempted to pay $1 million to orchestrate Tupac's murder, with ties to gang figure Dwayne Key Davis and his nephew Orlando Anderson, reportedly involved in the 1996 Las Vegas shooting. These claims, alongside recordings and first-hand testimony, present a chilling narrative in which Diddy is implicated indirectly in a violent gang-related conflict. The documentary underscores the complexity of the case, highlighting the blurred lines between music executives, gang affiliations, and violent crime.
It was 6 months earlier.
The award show season was up. We had to go out there to participate in that. We had records that were nominated. We were a budding, launching company that already launched, and we were successful. We could not go. But Biggie did have an inconvenience. He had a car accident. I think it was in Brooklyn, maybe downtown Brooklyn. He had a broken femur at that time, and he was recovering from that. Big sized person, could not really sit comfortably in a plane, not even first class, with a cast on. It was uncomfortable. He was talked into going to the LA portion of the trip so that he could be out there ahead of time. He was out in LA so there wouldn't be a big rush and bustle to get him there. So I think he was out there for a good week and a half ahead of time leading into the event. So being out there, we came to follow up and to have that night. And then he was supposed to, as per Arista's marketing department, Arista, one of the best labels and distribution companies that you can have to back you, the legendary Clive Davis, who's backed so many artists, believed in Bad Boy so much. He put together a marketing campaign that was never seen before that campaign and still wasn't seen, but it was put together so that Biggie could receive a international press junket in London with all press from around the world meeting him that Saturday, Sunday after the Friday award show night. He was supposed to go on an international flight with me. We have the itinerary still to this day. He was supposed to leave that early morning, go to London, and we would be out there for 2 or 3 days, and then he would go back to New York and go home. Diddy called Sean P. Diddy, whatever his name was during that time, called late Friday night, early Saturday morning, saying he's not going to London. Call Arista, cancel it. You go. You represent it. You go. He's not going. He wants to stay here in LA.
Kirk then went on to explain that Diddy pulled the budget for Biggie's security on purpose, so he would be left undefended.
You have a budget for everything that you do. The budget for Big in LA for the award show ended that Friday night, Saturday morning, when a new budget started to get him from LA to London, where he would be taken care of with security, his friends, and everyone that he wanted to be with him in the style that he was accustomed to handle the press junket. When that didn't happen, that budget was never opened. The budget for LA ended, and there was a great need for security that Saturday night, and he was out without that security. The beef up. And we lost him. And in that decision, what it put us in, that decision put us in the worst situation that we could have ever been in. We lost our number one talent. We're on a West Coast where we're surrounded by enemies who told us not to be here. We really shouldn't have been there, but we were. Now we have to get out of there. At that time, I brought most of the company with me. I had a lot of interns, young people. I had to account for them with their parents. We had to get them home. That weekend, I think we had to get Sean out first. 1, 2, 3 steps in the trunk of a car, moving out the city limits to another airport on that flight out. I stayed until Sunday-ish or so, making sure all the interns, all the executives, every last one of the kids that was out there with us.
Kirk Burroughs, co-founder of Bad Boy Records, recounts Diddy allegedly threatening him with a baseball bat to reclaim his stake in the company, a move that left Burroughs financially ruined and blacklisted. The documentary details multiple instances of Diddy allegedly using intimidation and manipulation to maintain control over business deals and artists. Burroughs' testimony illustrates the darker side of the empire-building process, revealing how power, fear, and strategic coercion may have shaped Bad Boy Records' rise while leaving some insiders devastated.
On that one, keep your streets on me. I ain't gonna go into detail on that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and read from the book.
Well, so let them buy the book then.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to read this passage. The shit was on. Tupac made an erratic move and began to reach down beneath his seat. It was the first and only time in my life that I could relate to the police command. Keep your hands where I could see them. Instead, Pac pulled out a strap, and that's when the fireworks started. One of my guys from the back seat grabbed the Glock and started busting back. The first skin shook in the head, and I thought that motherfucker was dead. I had heard some stories, supposedly that Suge used Tupac as a shield when the bullets started flying, but that's some bullshit. Suge was already wounded, and he was the one that got touched. As the rounds continued flying, I ducked down so I wouldn't get hit.
Basically, yeah.
White Cadillac, arm came out the back seat and started letting off.
What went through your head when you saw that?
And Puff created the atmosphere for both of those guys to lose their life.
I honestly, when I look back on it, if he trusted Sean more, it would have been better. But he didn't trust him as much as the way Sean says they were best friends after he was dead. Nah, I didn't see that during the time we were.
The second episode explores the notorious East Coast-West Coast rivalry between Bad Boy Records and Death Row, highlighting how executive decisions escalated tensions that eventually led to violence. Former collaborators and insiders allege that Diddy played a central role in intensifying the feud, not the artists themselves. The documentary presents evidence of strategic maneuvers, public provocation, and alliances with gang figures, all contributing to the violent atmosphere of the 1990s. Interviews contextualize how the rivalry was both a cultural phenomenon and a high-stakes business conflict, with deadly consequences for the people involved.
2008 proper agreement, he alleged that Diddy's friend Zip Martin is the one that gave him the weapon that was used to take out Tupac. KPD told the investigator Greg Kading that Zip Martin had a special compartment to keep this weapon in his car that he drove to Las Vegas. And in this documentary, we have Greg Kading confirming that Zip Martin did drive the same type of vehicle that KPD alleged to Las Vegas this night. And then during this documentary, we heard from the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now
that after Pac got Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The Fed said that too.
He said that actually happened. Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got, Puffy allegedly gave the money.
I heard
to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefe and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire. So thank God. It's just a true story. I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been for hire and Puffy would be locked up.
Yep. Diddy's relationship with Biggie Smalls is scrutinized in depth. Kirk Burroughs claims that Diddy pressured Biggie to travel to Los Angeles for promotional events despite the known risks following Tupac's death. Allegations suggest that Diddy deliberately left Biggie underprotected, including canceling his security budget, which may have contributed to his murder in 1997. The documentary also explores Diddy's manipulation of Biggie's contracts after his death, allegedly altering paperwork to retain profits, painting a stark contrast between the public image of a supportive mentor and the alleged private reality of calculated self-interest.
I'm waiting the whole time for Aubrey O'Day to reveal some major story that happened between her and Diddy. 3 episodes in, she's basically just talking about Diddy in a very general way. It isn't until the 4th episode that Aubrey reveals a witness walked in on Aubrey O'Day completely inebriated with Diddy doing things to her, as well as a second man who they refer to as a light-skinned, tall man. Details are very explicit and not anything I could share on here. This witness revealed that it was 100% Aubrey O'Day. It was really uncertain in watching Aubrey's reaction and kind of resharing this story whether or not she fully recollected the situation. He says it couldn't have been her choice to become inebriated because that was never her issue. She never really drank a whole ton. The earlier parts of this series, Aubrey does reveal these series of emails that she got from Diddy. They were all in very sexual nature, in a very sexual tone. He's basically asking her to come over and do certain things with him. It's these very domineering emails where he's basically setting the tone that he's the boss. She says that she felt very uncomfortable about those emails, and 6 months later,
the series doesn't shy away from Diddy's controversies involving sexual misconduct. Aubrey O'Day's accounts are highlighted, revealing allegedly coercive behavior and inappropriate emails sent by Diddy, as well as incidents in which a witness described her being inebriated while Diddy acted inappropriately. These episodes provide first-hand insight into the experiences of women working with or around Diddy, adding a layer of personal and emotional context to the broader narrative of power dynamics and abuse allegations within his inner circle.
Oh, hi, Gene. How are you?
All right, man. You know I ain't seen you since I came to your house and had that conversation with you. How you been? You all right?
I've been okay. I've been watching you on Facebook.
I'm sorry, Ms. Wallace. I'm sorry I had to do what I had to do, but you know, it is what it is.
Okay. I know you do.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Like I told people, I said, if Ms. Wallace would have called me and told me to shut it down, I would have shut it down. Ms. Wallace ain't called. She knew how to get in touch with me. If Ms. Wallace didn't tell me to shut it down, I'm going to keep doing it because I respect you, Ms. Wallace.
And do what you do.
First thing I said was, Ms. Wallace, if you tell me to stop, leave Puff, stop, no, I didn't say leave Puff. If you tell me to stop doing what I'm doing, I will. She said, no, G, I watch you. You keep doing it. You doing a good job. Man, listen here. Yo. I was happier than one of them boys at a Diddy party. I was so happy, man. It was crazy. Cause this was the first time I had talked to Miss Wallace since the last time I talked to her and was telling her about Big's death.
That Diddy wasn't helpful at all in the investigation into what happened to Biggie. We saw a lot of different records being put on the screen where it said he did not want to give any more info at this time, and this was at the hospital where Biggie passed away. And I also noticed this document that flashed on the screen that was from investigator Russell Poole. And Russell Poole said that he called Miss Wallace to update her on the investigation and that she was frustrated and angry that no one had been arrested for her son's unaliving. After bringing her up to date on the case and explaining our frustration with the lack of cooperation from Puppy Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, plus Biggie's own entourage's lack of further assistance in the investigation, Miss Wallace calmed down and understood the situation. Ray Kading said in this documentary he believed that Diddy did not cooperate with Biggie's investigation because it would have led investigators back to him with Tupac's unaliving. I always remember the saying that when you solve one of their cases, you will solve the other. And that's why I honestly can't wait until Tupac.
The documentary arrives amid ongoing legal battles, including Diddy's conviction for transporting people for prostitution and civil suits filed by former partners. Netflix's release prompted Diddy's team to issue a cease and desist, demanding the series be halted. The documentary combines these ongoing legal matters with archival material, giving viewers an unprecedented glimpse into how Diddy navigates both the legal system and public scrutiny. It raises questions about accountability, reputation management, and the long-lasting consequences of actions by powerful figures in the entertainment industry.
I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue No, that wasn't even the next issue because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New York is commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, read it, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How'd I get gunpowder all over me? That's what
Ultimately, the documentary frames Diddy as a complex figure whose life and career are intertwined with major historical moments in hip-hop. By blending archival footage, interviews, and allegations, the series challenges viewers to reassess the narrative surrounding Diddy,